Have you ever wondered what would happen if a god's most powerful weapon, a literal divine tool, suddenly developed an ego? Well, we're about to dive into a fascinating story that does exactly that. It takes this object of incredible power and gives it a very, very human problem: pride.
Now get this. This is how the story is actually introduced in the performance. It doesn't say powerful Sudarshana or divine Sudarshana. No, it says egoistic. Just that one word, it completely flips the script on what you'd expect from a myth about gods and their weapons, doesn't it?
And this, right here, is the question at the heart of it all. It's a conflict that feels so ancient but at the same time incredibly modern. It's about pride, about purpose, and, that fundamental question: who really deserves the credit?
So, a weapon with feelings? How does that even work? Well, to really get the impact of this story, we first have to understand the absolutely incredible art form that's used to tell it.
It's called Yakshagana. And this is not just one thing. It's this amazing, dynamic explosion of music, dance, insane costumes, and super expressive makeup all rolled into one. It's the perfect way, really, to tell a story that's this emotional and complex.
So the name of the story is Sudarshana Vijaya, which literally translates to the victory of Sudarshana. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? You figure, okay, a weapon wins a battle, and this is the kicker. The whole point of the story is to make us question what victory even means in the first place.
Okay, so if the big victory isn't about some epic battle, then how does this whole thing start? Well, it doesn't kick off with a demon army or some cosmic war. No, it starts in this quiet, almost domestic moment that just spirals into a full-blown identity crisis.
So here's the breakdown. It all begins with a compliment, but the praise is for the wielder, Lord Vishnu, not the tool. Sudarshana, the divine discus, overhears this, and its ego just gets crushed. It feels completely taken for granted and decides, okay, I have to set the record straight.
And this isn't some silent treatment. Oh no. Sudarshana, just full of wounded pride, stands up and makes this really passionate, compelling case for why it's so important. It basically argues that it's the real power behind the throne.
And listen to this claim. In Sudarshana's mind, Vishnu is nothing without him. The weapon doesn't see itself as just a tool of divine will, it sees itself as the source of that divine power. That is a pretty shocking thing to say to a god.
And it comes with receipts. It starts listing off its resume, claiming it was the key parts in Vishnu's other forms: the wings, the horns, the claws. It's essentially saying, look, I've always been the one doing the heavy lifting here, you guys, just haven't been paying attention.
And that brings us right to the core tension of the entire story. It's a classic question, right? What's more important, the divine mind that guides the power, or the raw, indispensable power itself? It's like asking who's more important, the artist or their brush.
So, all of this circles back to that title we talked about, Sudarshana's victory. After hearing its whole argument, the story is really forcing us to ask, what does it actually mean to win?
You can look at it in two ways. On the one hand, there's the literal victory, beating demons, winning battles. But the real story, the deeper meaning here, is about a much tougher fight. It's about the internal victory, the victory over your own ego. The story is hinting that true victory for Sudarshana isn't about proving its power, but about finally conquering its pride.
And this is the big takeaway for all of us. Sudarshana is basically a stand-in for our own skills, our talents, our big achievements. It's that part of us that does something amazing and then whispers in our ear, I did that. They couldn't do it without me. This story is a warning about letting our gifts define who we are, instead of remembering that we're the ones who get to wield them.
So I'll leave you with this thought. This incredible ancient story gave an ego to a weapon, all to teach a lesson about pride. And it makes you wonder, right? What are the tools in our own lives, maybe our jobs, our skills, the things we create, that we sometimes let become the master?